This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
This is Jimmy Lamp.
This is Matt Vassallo with the rhinestoneworld.com.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by...
My name is Terry Combs, RG, regular guy.
And Aaron Montgomery.
We're just regular guys having fun and trying to make a living in this really cool and exciting industry.
I think we all want to succeed 100% of the time.
Seek to understand before I try and make myself understood.
Bring a ton of great information.
Coming to you live from somewhere dark, dirty, and dank.
All right, welcome to the show. It is Friday, July 21st, 2023. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. Terry, today we've got Dan Short, and he's with Short Designs and Drunken Leprechaun Creations. And we're going to be just having him join us to talk about his business, how our listeners might use some of his ideas in their own businesses. And I'm excited. I've Dan already, and I just got to meet Dan, but just kind of checking things out, and he's a real guy that is a lot of fun. So I'm excited.
Colorful. Dan is colorful.
He seems awesome. So I can't wait to get to know Dan a little bit more. And I think for our listeners today, right, there's going to be obviously a nice element of fun, but just listening, right? Listen to take those nuggets out of there that I think will help you build your business and think about ways to be, authentically you and whatnot. So I'm excited to hear from Dan here in a little bit. And Terry, but before we get to Dan, we do have a news segment coming at you here. We've got Screen Printing Magazine. We've got Adrienne joining us from Screen Printing Magazine, and she's got a few news bits and some breaking news as well. So,
exactly.
Terry, are you ready for that?
I'm ready. Let's hear from Adrienne.
Do it.
Hey guys, happy Friday. You may notice a change in my background. I'm currently attending WB Week at Made Lab and Printed Threads in Fort Worth, Texas. You can follow along at Screen Print Mag on Instagram and look out for a recap next week. Shout out to the guys for setting me up in their podcast room. Today's first news item: increasing popularity of screen printing driving the 68 plus billion global decorated apparel industry. The global decorated apparel market is expected to reach $68.17 billion by 2030, according to the Decorated Apparel Market Size, Share, and Trends Analysis Report. Along with screen and digital printing, embroidery contributed a majority of the share to become the largest division in the global revenue in 2022. Rising product availability with a range of unique designs, color combinations, prints, and other decorations in graphic tees, coats, and designer blazers, specifically for men, drive the scope of the market for decorated apparel. Rising applications of printing and embroidery on apparel logos for sportswear, such as youth baseball teams, school spirit wear, or walk-run fundraisers, drive the demand for decorated apparel. Major players in the industry are trying to increase their presence in the global market by expanding their production facilities in various regions. Factors such as low costs, access to numerous garment workers, and duty-free entry into several Asia-Pacific markets are among the prominent reasons driving the investment. Up next, Google unveils virtual try-on feature for apparel shoppers. The feature, powered by AI technology, allows shoppers to try on clothing virtually, and is currently available in the US and focuses on women's tops from brands like Anthropologie, Everlane, H&M, and Loft. Shoppers can select the try-on badge on Google search and choose a model that closely matches their body type. With the help of AI, the technology demonstrates how the clothing would look on models of various sizes. The focus on apparel stems from the category's high search volume. According to a Google poll, 42% of online shoppers feel unrepresented by model images, and 59% express dissatisfaction when purchased items differ from their expectations. Next up, register for the Unite Together Town Hall. Unite Together, a diversity and inclusion movement within the print industry and beyond, is hosting a virtual All Hands Reconnect next Thursday, July 27th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. During the virtual meeting, the Unite Together board, which I am on, will share critical updates with members. Get ready to connect with open-minded and compassionate individuals, engage in thought-provoking discussions, and be part of a community that values togetherness. Whether you're a student, professional, or simply someone passionate about creating positive change, this event is for you. From interactive sessions to networking opportunities, we have planned meaningful experiences and resources that are intended to foster connections and ignite our passion for unity. So you can learn more and register for the virtual meeting at the link provided. And one last final news item. I mentioned I'm attending WB Week, which was the first event I attended for Screen Printing Magazine. It is also my last. Monday will be my last day with Screen Printing and Big Picture magazines. After 10 plus years, I'm moving on from magazine publishing, but you're not getting rid of me just yet. DTF Superstore is launching DTF.com, a website dedicated to helping those in the direct-to-film space grow their brand. I'm building it from scratch, which is an exciting challenge. Terry, Aaron, and Eric are allowing me to continue to share industry news here on Two Regular Guys, and I will continue my roles on the Unite Together and Women in Print Alliance boards. So I will still very much be involved in the industry. If you offer direct-to-film or considering adding the technology or want to learn more, please reach out. My new email is adrian@dtf.com. Thank you to everyone who has shared industry insight with me and helped grow Screen Printing Magazine. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.
All right. Well, never fear. Adrian will be back with news items just under a different title. So
yes, we'll have to update the role there, but well, a new one.
We've been keeping that a secret for a month. So
yeah, I know, which is hard for us, really, honestly, to be. We're not good at keeping secrets, just FYI. So but we have kept that secret. So we love it, and we're excited, right? The growth, the building something new, like she said, that sounds super exciting. So what she's done at Screen Printing Magazine is wonderful, and the fact that she's continuing with those initiatives also wonderful. And I can't wait to see what Adrian does with the DTF program over there at DTF.
Absolutely, best of luck to my fellow Ohio University Bobcat.
I knew we couldn't get away without the Ohio University. I love it. Well, Adrian, thank you so much, and yes, we will look forward to having you back really soon, just under a new umbrella, and we're working to see if we can keep Screen Printing Magazine in the mix too. So we'll just have an extra news anchor, so to speak, right? Looking forward to that. So thank you very much. Terry, we've got a dad joke coming up here in just one moment, but let's say good morning to some of the regulators that are checking in here, if that sounds good. Early on, Kingsbury Craft was in saying good morning, and I'll be back. So we're going to double check on that. Are you back? Right. And good morning to Chuck. And we've got Becky Kotzer checking in. Excuse me, I said that incorrectly. Kutzer. Yes, I got it actually right. I got to meet Becky in person a couple weekends ago in Minnesota. So Becky's a good friend of mine. Rena, good morning. And so who else we got down here? I can scroll a little ways. Yep. Kingsbury Craft is back. James, hi guys. I messaged you from my new. Yes, here's another change of venue. This one was exciting as well. Hi guys, I'm messaging you from my new office at Hicks Corporation in Pittsburgh, Kansas. So
what, James? What comes around goes around, my friend.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm not putting anything out there. James has been doing this for a long time, and I'm sure he's going to keep doing this for a long time, but this almost reminds me of like an all-star going back home to retire, right? You got to get back.
That's right.
I don't know if that's actually
James. Did you just have a 1-day contract so you can retire and go into the
Hall of Fame?
Hicks guy.
Yes, indeed. All right. So Kingsbury Craft is back. Keith, welcome. Good morning. Good to see you. And Rich, hello to you. So, all right, Terry. This one
I just talked to Keith yesterday.
Oh, cool. Cool. It's been a little while since I've talked to Keith, so it's great to see him here. All right, cool. Terry, well, we've got a dad joke at no retirement soon. New career at 65. Look at you, James. I love it. Cool. I can't wait to see what you're going to do with Hicks over there. That's awesome. All right.
Me too.
Terry. So yes, dad joke. I got to see it in advance. I was a little worried at first, but then I read it the whole thing. So anyhow, go ahead.
Well, okay, since we're interviewing Dan Short from Drunken Leprechaun Creations, I thought this would be the best dad joke to choose from our bag of dad jokes. We keep
the
at the end of this
database,
outline.
Terry. It's a database. So anyhow, sorry.
It's from the database. Yeah, that's right. All right, here we go. Aaron, did I tell you I'm giving up drinking for a month?
What?
Oh, sorry, that came out wrong. I'm giving up drinking for a month.
See, like I said, I was a little concerned at first.
We debated that one, everyone. We were like, it was in that gray area of once. Oh, absolutely not. And this is good.
It was very gray in that area. All right.
All right.
Well, we got a laugh from Kingsbury Craft, so there we go. All right, we're good.
Okay, very good. All right. We want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We are looking for new voices in that intro. We'd love to have the regulators join in or participate in the show intros. Go to decorators.ink.ink/intro and read just a few sentences so you can be a part of the show. We like to update that every year or so, and so we're ready. We've gotten a few.
Yeah, we've got a few, but James, maybe James at his new location. I don't know. Keith,
I know.
Kingsbury Crafts. Anybody? You got dive in there. Decorators.ink/intro. So.
Exactly. So we're also looking for new guests always. If you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2, regular guys with your show ideas. And if you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would greatly appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Podcast, wherever you do your podcast listening. It'd be very helpful for all of us here at Two Regular Guys. And if you're watching live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions from a very successful decorator, Dan Short.
Yes, indeed. Looking forward to that. And James says, I would love to be a guest soon. So James, just go over there to calendly.com/2 regular guys and find a Friday that works for you. Yep. The number 2. Also,
it's been a while, James. You haven't been on the show in a long time. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, definitely. And also need those intros, guys. I'm going to come back to that because I'm going to have to actually start calling people out. Maybe we'll get Dan to do it, right? New guest, and he'll just carry it for everybody there. So I'm already putting Dan on the spot and he hasn't even met me yet. All right. Well, speaking of Dan, let's get him in here. We want to welcome into the show Dan Short. And Dan, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning. Hey, so Dan, we don't typically do the big intro, this is me, I'm so perfect, right? We like to get it straight from the people that are joining us, and so we always like to kind of start off with a little bit of give us a Dan 101, how you found your way into the industry. Those are the types of things that we like to learn. So give us the quick 101 and how you made your way into becoming a garment decorator.
Well, it's my wife's fault.
Okay, good. It's clear.
So I have been doing laser and sublimation for a while. I did a little bit of HTV. I got into doing some of the HTV, picked up a vinyl cutter, and well, I don't do that anymore because weeding is not any fun. That is way too much work. Yes. And had some requests for some full color work. So went down and checked a machine out here locally. And my wife's exact comment was, "Oh, I can get free shirts." She's still getting free shirts.
How many years ago was this?
I think we're going on 4 now, but
wow.
Yeah. And the list is a mile long. Just when you think you're getting caught up, it's that honey-do list. You think you're getting caught up. No, I need one of these and one of these and one of these and one of these.
Yep.
And so that's kind of where it came. But it all came from, I've got a background in graphics. So I've been doing graphics pretty much since I was 16. I've been in print since I was 16.
Wow.
Back in the old, I did digital print. I actually started and got into anything of print back in the old Kinko's days.
Wow. Okay.
So I've always been a tech and a computer guy. And that was my first job. And I interviewed there back when they used to do all their design in-house and resumes for people and all of that kind of stuff and that full service type of thing. But when I interviewed for it, they had asked me, if I have, I've got computer knowledge. I was 16. I mean, I was a tech kid. And I'm like, sure. So kind of learned as I went. And that's where it all started. And I'm self-taught on everything that I do. So I got some promotional opportunities there and did a lot of corporate America for a while, and then decided corporate America is not for me. The suit and tie to work every day, that in my mouth gets me in trouble a lot. So I did a lot of corporate America, but I've always been in print management or print management, stuff like that. And then finally, I just started doing the whole graphics thing. I do web work. I try not to admit to that because I don't want to. I'm a graphics guy. I'm not a code guy. I can do it. I don't enjoy it. Yeah. So
you don't want to encourage anybody to call you.
You don't want to attract that. So call Dan for your web work. No, please don't.
I don't even want to build my own.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been in graphics for a while. So cool. As I like to say, I was doing graphics and still do graphics before Canva was popular, and everybody does graphics.
Yeah. I'm a graphic designer.
Yeah, I mean, it's a don't get me wrong, Canva's a wonderful tool. Any of those are, but there's a lot of people today. Oh yeah, I do this, I do that. I'm like,
no,
come on. Yeah. Back before there was a creative suite of Photoshop. So
gotcha. So Dan, you mentioned laser and sublimation too. I'm a big fan of sublimation. I'm kind of a sublimation guy. Okay. Tell us a little bit about that too, and then we'll let Terry talk t-shirts.
So oddly enough, the reason that I got into sublimation is I was in my wife, who I didn't know at the time, owned a retail vape shop. So we had, I say we, towards the end, it was the both of us, but her father-in-law created these custom like mechanical box type things for the vape industry. He was the only one, as it progressed on, we were the only ones in the world doing it. And I got into sublimation because there's acrylic panels that get inset into these frames that you can customize. And it took me about a year to figure out how it was done. And then from there, it took me how to figure out how to put acrylic under 400 degrees and pressure and keep it in there for 4 minutes and bring it out and make it flat. So there was a lot of R&D that went into that. And that was my start. And then I'm like, oh, I can do other stuff with this.
Yeah.
So started off with
back, right?
No, I really didn't. And I really enjoyed doing shirts with sublimation, but I didn't like the feel of the shirt. And the shirts have gotten a lot better. Yeah. And, there's plenty of new options back from when I was doing it. But I've always loved the shirt and the garment industry, especially you pair that with graphics.
Yeah.
But that was kind of segued into there. And then I did a little bit of the HTV. But I absolutely love sublimation. I love all of the new substrates, everything that's coming out for it. There's so many different cool things you can do with it.
Yeah.
I don't do anything. Almost everything that I do now is DTG. Besides this big giant embroidery machine behind me that I picked up 4 months ago and still have not used.
Well, we got to get it for you. So
our guest next week is going to be talking about the embroidery toolbox you need to have. So tune in next week, Dan.
I will. Absolutely. I made it as far as putting the thread on it, and and I've dusted it, but it's just one of those things that I haven't had time.
Sure.
When Eric isn't producing our show, he's a lot of free time to talk to people about how to do embroidery, right? No, sorry, Eric. Just kidding.
It's like Dan doing web pages, right?
Right. Exactly right.
Don't
tell anybody. So Dan, give us a breakdown on the different decoration methods. We talked about several different things here. What all different methods are you decorating with?
So sublimation, obviously not onto garments any longer. I do pretty much direct to garment. Once I figure out that machine behind me, I'll be doing that. And then I do direct to film as well. But I am a huge advocate for DTG. There's a lot out there that's saying that DTF is going to replace DTG, and I believe they'll coexist, and they'll coexist for the long haul.
Yep.
There's good applications for both.
Yep.
If I can DTG it, I'm absolutely going to DTG it. But there's certain things that you can't, and that's where DTF is wonderful. I've got a handful of mechanic shirts that I have to do later today, and it's great for that.
Yeah.
And so many different applications. Pretty much, if it's not cotton and you can't print it, DTF it.
Yep, exactly. But I love that you shared that, they're going to coexist, because there's definitely a place for DTG still. I know lots of people that could you DTF that, sure, but in certain circumstances, it's a way better product to have the DTG product, and so.
Especially for the screen printers that have moved into DTG or DTF, screen printers all like, oh no, I want the DTG. It feels more like what I do every day. So a lot of it's perception.
And that's the biggest thing. It's the hand feel too. But you have DTF's, the new kid on the block, and when you have something that's, I say new-ish, but it's really starting to take off. But when you have the new kid on the block, everybody's like, oh, this is going to replace this is going to replace that. It's just like, DTG is going to replace screen printing. No. It's absolutely not. And DTF is, in the full color world, is never going to replace DTG. Yeah. And anybody that tries to DTF a full back is going to learn real quick.
Peel that off. But back.
So but it's absolutely coexisting. There's a huge push for DTF right now, and DTF also has a place for somebody that's just looking to get into the business or the industry, where they don't have to have all the equipment to do it. As long as you've got a good heat press, you can do it. I still wouldn't suggest doing that full back DTF, but hey.
See, Dan and I both live in Phoenix, and we were just talking about before we came on the air. It's going to be 118 today, so no one wants to wear the full back DTF in Phoenix today.
No, not at all. And that's what I always explain to people too, depending upon what the client is looking for. Anybody's looking for my opinion. I'm like, this is how we hear your pros of this, and vice versa. I mean, depending upon your garment, you don't have a choice. You can't DTG everything. Yeah. But
that's so cool, Terry. I get it now. I get why you brought Dan on. He speaks our language, right? Because I'm thinking the same thing. Like this shirt that I'm wearing right now, no chance I would wear this if it was a DTF. It would not be comfortable. But as a DTG, I can wear it when it's 98% humidity outside and be fine. So.
And decorators need to know how to design for that as well. No postage stamps, no movie posters on the front of a shirt. If you're doing DTF, it's just not going to have that feel. It's not going to have that breathability. So you have to design accordingly.
Yep. Definitely. Okay. Well, all right. So Dan, you've talked about all the different things that you've done and what you're working on, but what's impressed me is how into really kind of understanding the nuances and kind of becoming an expert in the craft, so to speak. So talk to us about why that's important to you and what that looks like inside of your business.
So I over-research everything, sometimes to a fault. But before I picked up my DTG printer, I spent 3 months researching it. There's different models out there, different everything from, it's like, oh, I don't know a ton about this, so let me research it from, there's people that have converted printers to, different printer manufacturers out of there. And I think understanding what you're getting into and knowing the process is part of the most important. I'll go back to when I first picked up my laser, same thing, over researched it like that. But all the research that I did was pretty much that anybody can run a laser. You put something in there, you press start, it does what it needs it to do. It's all in the back end as far as graphics. I've done a lot. My name started and everything that I did in the laser world on some of the engraving that I could pull off on anodized aluminum. And the machine does exactly what you tell it to do. It's all in how you prep your graphics, how you convert it, how you get it over there. Because on a laser, all it sees is black and white. The laser turns on when it's black, turns off when it's white. So as far as like any of that is concerned, it's, I look for, how can we take a simple process and make it better or make it easier in that case? Same thing with sublimation and stuff like that. I'm a tinkerer. I try a lot of things. Let me see if this will work.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, let me find somebody that might know or do a lot of research and figure it out. I have been blessed with the fact that I do have the graphics background. So that applies very easily to DTG. The laser was a little bit of a learning curve because in print and all my print background, you just print. You don't have to worry about dithering and setting this up in dot size and everything because that's how the laser is going to run. And basically going from digital print to basically creating dithered bitmaps. And then with sublimation and now DTG coming from the print world, everything that I know was always done in CMYK. So trying to wrap my head around, why do we want to use RGB? That doesn't make any sense. And most people are like, wait a minute, there's no RGB in there. But sublimation and DTG, you design an RGB, which is really nice because you can get that gamut and you can really you have a much wider gamut in the RGB space. Sure, what's on your screen isn't always what prints. You can't print your neon, so on and so forth. But you have a lot more adjustment capabilities with RGB to simulate what you want when you go to print. So you're long to answer it short. Short. I haven't had that all my life. I try everything and pretty much, just keep at it. As long as you're learning and you're making progress, you're doing well.
Yeah. What a great mindset to have too. That willingness to tinker, and it's okay if you ruin a shirt, right? You gotta be willing to do that.
Well, absolutely. And I've ruined a lot of them. I still ruin a lot of them.
Sure.
And part of that is what I look for in quality and what I want to put out and what I believe puts me to stand out from the crowd is the fact that if I don't like it, it's not going out.
Yeah.
And it was on a side little note there that you guys will enjoy is when I was getting trained on this printer, the gentleman that was training me, he's like, I don't like working with graphic guys. I'm like, why? He's like, because you guys have so much attention to detail and you put it in there and the shirt comes out and it looks great and you like it, go, that's a hair off. I'm like, well, yes, it's true. And that's part of the learning curve with garment printing as well, is just because I look at it and go, that's just a hair, I've really had to adjust, not take my quality level down, but understand what is still a darn good print versus I'm like, there's a little speck there. So now I give it the wife test. I show it to her. I'm like, you see anything off here? She's like, no, it looks great. Why? I'm like, okay, good. and it's fine. But the problem we've run into is she'll then ask me, what am I looking at? And I'll show her. So over the years, she's caught on and she knows what I'm looking for now. And sometimes she'll just look and go, looks, yeah. Mm-hmm. She found it right away.
But she's giving you the okay. Right. I like it.
Yeah. No, but I mean, and it's true because with a lot of what I print, I'm almost over criticizing what really can't be produced. So different garments, different things, stuff like that. You have certain limitations on things.
Yeah.
And while I'm always trying to push the envelope and get it exactly how I want it, customers are like, this is absolutely fantastic. So once again, you don't sacrifice quality at all, but sometimes you're just too over analytical of what you're producing. And I've got a pile of test shirts because of that now.
Sure. Well, that's the fine line, but I think that is what separates the Terry talks a lot that there's a lot of printers out there, just not a lot of great printers, right? Or that's not exactly how you say it, Terry, but
that's exactly how I would say it. And I see a lot of, and this comes back from years ago in design. I'll look at something and go, who designed that? Like, your typography is terrible, your color, like contrasting, it's hard to read, or any of that. And I find myself now looking at shirts, looking at how it's printed, looking at this going, and some of them, going back to the DTF conversation, you see some shirts out there where people are walking around. I'm like, I can see that crunch while you're wearing it. It's a big old 16-inch print. I'm like,
yeah, that can't be comfortable.
Yeah.
I think the difficulty for all of us is when, hey, there's nothing wrong if you got a bad print. The problem is you don't know it's a bad print.
Right.
That's the line between a perfectionist like yourself and somebody who goes, well, I think it looks fine. But yeah, I think you're correct. You have to kind of get in your head, what's the customer going to say? The customer loved it, So I think we're all in that kind of a little bit too critical about what we do. But I'd rather be on that side than it looks fine to me. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, 100%. And I've done things before where I've shown, friends or people of back, especially when I was in my retail location, where people are like, that looks wonderful. Like, let me just get that one. I'm like, no, my name's on it. I mean, my name's not really on it, but I don't want that going out there because it doesn't meet my standards.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of piles of stuff that's never been released into the wild because of that. And sometimes you just get a garment that's bad and that's weird or something like that.
Yeah.
I was printing, you can see the stacks of stuff that's behind me. I'm doing a run for an event that's on Sunday out here of 200 shirts for 2 different organizations. But I had 2 shirts that I was printing the backs of yesterday. Like the top 3/4 of an inch, pre-treater didn't pre-treat them. Like, well, happens.
Yeah.
So
it does happen, for sure. Well, Terry, I know you got another question for me, but let me just jump in with the regulators here real quick. Ramona, we're going to let you off the hook, Ramona, for being late, but that's one demerit. So I was kidding. But when you were talking about DTG being replaced by GTF or screen print being replaced by those two, right? Just like color reels going to replace thread embroidery. Yep, not happening. And then Ron, I've got I highlighted your comment there, Ron, and I want to talk about that, but we'll come back and talk about that after the break, if that's okay. So, Terry, I know you've got one more question for Dan before we hit the break here.
Yeah, Dan, I've seen a lot of your graphics, and they're pretty spectacular. And so what's the most important thing for you about graphics that you create? So, in other words, what separates you from the competition?
I think. See, that's a tough one. I could go a bunch of different ways in here. I think a lot of that is just time and time in doing what I've been doing and knowing what's going to print and what's not going to print well. But I do remember back in my early days of DTG and stuff like that, where it's always been said, if you're going to run gradients, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, put some noise on it and this, that, or whatever. Well, I've disproved that. We can run gradients all day long. I think you've seen that, the one that I'm referring to, Terry.
Yes.
But a lot of it is just, I think it's just a mix of, I've been doing print and graphics long enough that you just have to take that knowledge and apply it to the printer. And if your graphics are clean and everything,
how that graphic's going to translate to the garment.
Correct. Absolutely. And knowing what colors are going to go. The biggest thing that I see a lot of times is people trying to print like a lime green. Lime green is tough to print. Lime green, a teal, and some of your rich pinks are tough to translate from screen to print. and it just takes time. Print your swatches, but even with your swatches, and you find the right color value, you incorporate that into a design with a gradient or a fade or anything of that matter, and it changes everything. So I wish I had a really good, like, here's the easy answer to this, but there isn't. And I still today am learning things. I'm still trying different things. I'm very a believer in, if you're not, constantly learning and evolving, you're falling behind. So I'm always trying to
100%.
do something different, weird. And as we go on this journey too, I mean, you even look at the software and what Adobe is doing now with their generative fill and different things that you can do with the program. And I know my way around Adobe very well, but I'd also be willing to bet that I know maybe 15 to 20% of it and maybe utilize that much.
Yeah.
Just because it is that powerful. And that's for any software or anything like that. So
yeah.
Totally agree. Now, Dan, question for you. Would you call Terry's shirt a rich pink color? Where does that fall in that rich pink area?
I don't think so. I think that's salmon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Terry,
for our podcast listeners, Dan is correct. My shirt is salmon.
So I guess you're going to be taking Dan to lunch and maybe buying him some drinks now. This is all about. All right. Well, this has been fantastic. Let's take a quick break here, and I want to share a little bit about a program that we're just launching together with another Success Principles friend of mine. So, Eric, take it away when you're ready. Are you a small business owner or coach feeling trapped in a cycle of stagnation and uncertainty? Welcome to the Radical Goal Getters, where we facilitate transformative mastermind groups for tenacious individuals like you. Reserve your spot in a powerful 6-month mastermind program led by certified Success Principles coaches. The Radical Goal Getters mastermind groups offer a supportive environment, expert guidance, collaborative learning, and accountability. Radical Goal Getters also provides a private, asynchronous messaging system allowing you to connect with fellow group members, share resources, ask questions, and get support 24/7. Visit radicalgoalgetters.com for more information. Ready to transform your goals into reality? There are 5 available time slots, and each group is limited to the first 6 people who apply. Unleash your radical potential and accomplish what you've never thought possible. Visit radicalgoalgetters.com to reserve your spot now by applying today. The groups will start the week of August 7th, so get your seat at the table today. All right. Well, check that out. Appreciate you guys giving that a look. When you get a chance, when we get done chatting with Dan here, just keep that page bookmarked and go over to radicalgoalgetters.com. Terry, so we had a comment, I believe, from Rana, and I want to just discuss this. We're going to kind of reverse and go back to something we were talking about before when we were talking about DTG and DTF. So Rana had said DTG seems more labor intensive with pre-treat and post-treat, but I don't know. I know my opinion, but Dan, I'd love to get your opinion on that too.
I think it depends upon how you're doing your DTF if we're going to compare it to DTG. If you're ordering your transfers and they come to you on roll and you cut them out and you do them, absolutely.
Yeah.
When I do DTF, I'm printing them myself, I'm powdering them, I'm curing them myself. Yeah. So me personally, it's close to about the same. The only difference is I don't have to get the bin with the powder out because I do it manually. I don't have a shaker, dryer, any of that stuff. Because predominantly what I do is DTG. So by the time I get the bin out with the powder and not really switch the machine over, but put a different platen on there, print it, cure it, everything about that.
Change the settings.
Right. It's about the same. Yeah. Now I will say, since I'm doing sheet, because I'm doing it off of my Epson, if I'm doing a 16x20 and if I'm doing left chest or I'm doing sleeves or anything like that, I can get 10, 20, depending upon the size or whatever on one sheet. So that will cut down on time. And I think a lot of not issues, but a lot of the learning curve in DTG is getting your pre-treat right. The 2 most important things in DTG are your pre-treat and your garment. If you find the right garment, that's easy. Know your settings and order it. But as far as the pre-treat is concerned, you really have to dial it in per garment and make sure that that's dialed in really well. Once you have that down, it's easy.
Yeah.
And on a side note from that, don't try and offer 500 different options of garments to your customer. You will lose your mind because they're all going to be different, even from different colors. I've had it before where we're talking the same exact garment, manufacture, everything, where it changes from size. So because how it was manufactured or anything like that, where I've had to up my pre-treat a hair just by size. Now I've got it down to where I can look at it and pretty much go, that needs a little bit more. And then from then on for the rest of the size, I can do that. But once you get the pre-treat dialed in and you get a system going, it's pretty easy. It takes a little bit of time to get there.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. That's exactly what I was thinking too, because I mean, like you said, if you're just getting your transfers and but you still have to, heat, peel, heat again to set it in with a DTF. And then, same thing with, you could get a pre-treated shirt too nowadays, right? In certain cases,
absolutely.
Right? So, in fact, Becky says DTF is not for the faint of heart if you're doing them yourself. And Becky's somebody that knows she actually makes transfers for folks at 605 Custom. So check that out. But Terry, you have any other things to add to that before you?
Well, yeah, 100% agree. And unlike any other decoration method for DTG, that shirt and the pre-treating is critical, but there are variables in every type of decoration. And, coming from the screen print world, I look at DTG and go, wait, I just have to pre-treat the shirt, send the file, load the shirt, and hit the button. That's because I'm still doing separations in my screen printing shop, for that order. I'm 2 days away from printing shirts in the world of screen printing. But again, screen print is not going anywhere. It's just like Adrienne was saying in her news segment. But there are variables to all of this. And Dan, back to your point about when we're talking about, researching, being an expert at what you do, it makes it easier once you go through all that research and all that trial and error and testing, and it gets to be a much easier process once you've gone through a little bit of the pain, right?
Oh, absolutely. But once you get it down, it's easy. It really is. So.
Yeah. So Dan, going to shift gears a little bit. You were showing me a graphic just the other day, and it made me start thinking about the fact that you're always on the lookout for the next current event to turn into a printed shirt. And in my screen printing classes, I always say your first thought should always be, I should do shirts. Talk to us a little bit about printing for current events.
That's something I always like to capitalize on, and especially in the DTG world, it's easy. You design it up and you click print. It's not like you have to burn the screens or do any of that. And I did one that was pretty successful for about 2 weeks with something that was in the news lately. And yeah,
I think you could talk about it. Tell us what.
Listen, I'm just, the shirt says it all. So I made an Ocean Gate shirt. It was the Ocean Gate risk management team. I got onto it really quick and got it designed. And that was, I probably should have been like 2 days earlier, but I did all right. And then I did 5 days worth of promo and advertising on it and stuff like that, moved a whole bunch of them. But you have very short windows on anything that's current.
Yeah.
So, that one was about a 2-week window, give or take. And the nice thing about DTG is you just print what you need, you ship it out, and you're done. Move on to the next one. So right now we've got Jason Aldean that's hot in the news, and might be a shirt coming up on that one.
There you go.
But it's different things like that. And I'm sure you guys will segment into that, but if in case anybody hasn't caught on, I do a lot of edgy type things when I do stuff like that, or
Well, I've got a couple of your
controversial
shirts
possible.
that. Oh no, I can't show them.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm an 80s kid from Chicago. So,
Well, what I love about that though, Dan, is you're right. You're being true to yourself. And I think that's something that, as business owners, we need to think about that, right? We can't always be like worried about everything else. We just need to kind of go with what we feel is the right thing to do. Right. And you're an 80s kid from Chicago. You like to have some fun. You're okay being a little edgy.
right.
I
Absolutely.
think we should celebrate that.
And that's who I've always been. I've always been unapologetically me, and it's gotten me in trouble a few times.
Sure.
Maybe more than a few. But it's just, if you meet, you see a lot of things in business where people will, their business is one thing, but you actually meet the person and they don't match. The one thing you always get from me is, if you look at, wow, like you look at some of the stuff Dan creates, and granted, I do a lot of custom print, but my actual own apparel line, which is the Drunken Leprechaun side of things, is not suitable for work or anybody offended.
Yeah.
But you look at that and then you meet me in person and go, oh yeah, same guy. Yeah. He wasn't kidding.
Yeah.
So, but that's the fun in it. That's the fun in it too, because especially, and I'm one of those people that's, if there's that saying, if you can't take a joke, or there's something in the beginning of there, whatever. But
yeah,
that's me.
But, there's a place in the marketplace for all different types of decorators. So that's especially today with the ability to sell nationally, internationally, from your shop. It's easy to find I don't want to say it's easy. There are the customer base for all different types of decorating is ever expanding, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And that just happens to be my niche that's why I have two quote unquote separate companies is too, because depending upon what I'm doing or marketing or stuff like that, the short designs is more the print of things. The Drunken Leprechaun Creations is more of a brand, but that type of thing. And, I'll print anything. So
cool.
Doesn't matter to me. And
there you go. Nice. I love it. Love it, Dan. All right. Well, Terry was telling me that you've recently made a few changes in your location, going from Glendale to Tempe. And I know being somebody that's actually from Phoenix, I know what kind of a change that is in landscape. But tell us about that a little bit, and how your selling approach has changed due to that. Even though it's technically still inside of Phoenix, that's a move.
So the Glendale is a retail location. Back when we were talking about how, I got my name and sublimation and stuff like that because of the vape industry, that was a retail front that my wife had in a pretty busy corner in Glendale. And we had a lot of walk-in traffic. Sure, there was the actual business was all vape related products. But the entire, as I grew, I started taking over more and more of it. And it was a family ran business, and the customers were pretty much family too. And that's how, we lasted as long as we did in the industry.
Yeah.
And did well there before making our exit. But when people would come in, it's like, they were family to us. So like, oh, you do this now. What's Dan doing now?
Yeah.
So there was that walk-in element where, we could add more things, and it advertised itself. I don't do really any advertising, or I will advertise, obviously my current shirts or stuff like that, or as far as that goes. But as far as custom orders or getting business, I never really advertise. It's all word of mouth. And still to this day, I really don't.
Nice.
And the nice part about having the retail was people come in and go, oh, I had no idea you did this. And then, I've got my mom or somebody's ordering up a restaurant. We're going to need some shirts for that, or I'm going to need something for this. So that was something to, a conversation starter. Now I'm in a commercial location, which, you could still come here. But my tagline is, anybody knows me, I love talking. I love stuff like this, but I'm always like, I don't like people. So it's really, it's great for me. with that because I can close the door and I can print.
Yeah.
So I was in here at 3 a.m. this morning, starting printing and everything like that for this run that I'm doing. I'm like, lock the door and print. So as far as my approach to things, I don't have that walk-in people asking, which did drive a good amount of business. And now it's just a lot of it is word of mouth. And I don't put a lot of it. I'll put some of the stuff that I do up online and stuff like that. But because of all the people that I got to know previously, it's, that have gotten stuff from me. They're like, oh, hey, I've got a really good shirt guy and stuff like that. So that really, really helps. But I much prefer being behind closed doors.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
and walk-in is great too, but also walk-in means, so, hey man, it's hot out there, don't you think?
Yeah.
You're thinking, I got work to do.
Right. That always happened when somebody comes in and, like I said, I love talking to people and stuff like that, but it's exactly. I'm like, I needed to be back printing an hour ago. Can we finish up this story you told me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Dan, before we go any further, how can our listeners find you?
So drunkenleprechaun.com is my brand and my site there. This should come with a very large warning of explicit content, controversial content, offensive content, whatever you want to put on there, because nothing is off.
Might I add, hilarious.
Hilarious content, yes. But if you are easily offended, yes, I understand.
Yeah, if you and not just, we hit all spectrums over there.
Yeah.
So I'm also on Facebook for Short Designs AZ, also Drunken Leprechaun Creations on Facebook.
Cool.
Awesome. You can kind of stalk me anywhere.
I did that this week. It was fun.
Oh boy. Well, at least you knew what you were getting into.
That's right, and I loved every second of it. So, hey Dan, we're running a little short on time here, but this has been fantastic. I love, like I said, I've loved every second of this. And if we can, grab any more insight, that's what we're always looking to do here on the Two Regular Guys. But just quickly, what would be the number one piece of advice that you wish you had gotten before starting your business?
Oh man,
putting you on the spot.
I don't. So my real answer to that is get more power outlets than you think you need.
There you go.
So
there's a nuts and bolts answer.
There's really no, like, when you think you have enough dedicated circuits, you don't.
Nice.
But
true statement.
As far as I, quite honestly, nothing. And I say that not because I went into it knowing everything that I need to know.
Yeah.
But if you don't learn as you're going along and learn it yourself and make the mistakes, you're never going to learn. Some of my biggest learning experiences have been by wasting product, have been by just wanting to wheel the printer out into the back alley and just get rid of it, or stuff like that. Because once you finally get it exactly how you want it, no matter what you're doing, sublimation, laser, doesn't matter, printing, once you finally get it down, you're like, oh yeah.
I love it.
And that's really what it is. My wife works with me, if I need help with things or stuff like that, she'll come in and she'll pre-treat for me. She's been pre-treating for 4 days for me. I think she's officially done with me for pre-treating. But I'll call her and be super excited, be like, hey, I got this, I figured this out. And I could tell, like, granted, we're on the phone, but I know she's on the phone going, I have no idea. I have no idea what the heck you're talking about, but cool.
I know this is important to you, so good on
right.
you.
Oh, no, yeah, no, absolutely. Because I'm going on this big technical tangent or explaining to her, and I know she's on the phone over there going, yeah, okay. Proud of you.
Yeah, there you go. Dan, thank you so much. This has been incredible. What a great conversation and a lot of fun. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. We'll figure out some other reason, some good excuse to have you back in the not too distant future there, Dan.
So it doesn't take much of an excuse.
That's right.
All right, Dan.
Chat and have fun.
And I'll see you at the Arizona sandwich shop next time.
Oh, you know it.
Well, now I'm gonna have to come to Arizona to the sandwich shop.
Oh, no,
I need to get back
you
home.
are.
Anyhow. Yep.
Absolutely.
All right. Done. All right, Dan. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
man.
Terry.
We'll
Thanks,
talk
guys.
to you soon.
Fantastic.
Yeah. What a great conversation, Terry. All right. Well, Terry, what is coming up for you? What's in Terry's big book of travel there?
Yeah,
How are you going to
absolutely.
get out of the 118-degree weather?
Well, it's not happening right away, but the pools are nice right now. I was out
Okay, good.
skimming it at 5:30 this morning because it's too hot to do it later in the day.
Yeah. I get it.
But I'm going to be at Workhorse Products here in Phoenix when it's a little bit cooler, September 23rd and 24th. I'll be in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply on November 4th and 5th. I will be speaking along with you and Eric. I'm going to be doing my everything you've heard about DTG printing and DTF printing on the internet is wrong. And I'm also going to be moderating a panel there as well. And that will be September 14th through 16th. And as always, all my upcoming events you can find at terrycombs.com.
Wonderful. Cool. All right. For me, I just, you guys have heard about my book for a while now, probably, and I finally have it available online. It's called The Fundamentals of Business Success. It's available as an ebook, and I'm also taking pre-orders for the paperback version if anybody wants that. If you just go over to oursuccessgroup.com/FBS book, and it's all about ditching the daily grind and finding the fun in your business. So you'll see fundamentals and funds all caps, and everybody's like, that's a typo. No, it's not. Right. So inside it are what I consider 13 fundamentals, kind of a no nonsense guide that's going to help you lay a solid foundation for long-term success in your business. So I'm excited to hear what people think about that book. And yeah, we'll be getting it out to other locales, you know, and I've been picking Terry's brain about how to get it out into the wild. So coming soon. I'm also talking to some publishing companies right now. So looking forward to that. The next thing that I've got coming up, Terry mentioned that I'll be out in Fort Worth at the Impressions Expo. Out there, I'm actually going to be out there the day before on September 13th. And we're doing a workshop called the ABCs Design, Print, and Market. And I get to do that alongside the Magic Touch, Corel Trainer, and Creo. It is a full day workshop where we're going to provide a start to finish look at custom apparel from that initial design to final print and beyond. I get to talk a lot about business and sharing some of the fundamentals out of the book. We're going to walk you through each step and equipping you with all of the tools to create, organize, market, and deliver more to your customers. So if you'll go over to osg.link/ABCS and check that out and sign up there. I'd love to meet you out in Fort Worth. And Becky, I just saw your comment. She says the fundamentals book is awesome. I appreciate that, Becky. All right. And then just one more reminder. I know you keep hearing about it, but it's coming up soon. And I just want to challenge people. If you think that you're ready to really kind of get those goals, make it happen, I'm going to challenge you to join that Radical Goal Getters. It's an investment that is going to be worthwhile. And I just don't want you to kick yourself for missing the opportunity to really transform yourself and your business. So if you'll go to radicalgoalgetters.com and just hit that, the application at the bottom, just apply and let's make it happen. So again, the groups are starting the week of August 7th, and I don't want you to miss out. We're already getting some people signed up, so I don't want you to miss your opportunity. We're going to obviously limit those so we have a proper mastermind. So that's what I've got. Terry, I can share what Eric's got going on if that's okay.
Yeah, let's do that since I'm going to be doing secret sauce today.
Awesome. Yeah. Like we didn't even tease that one today, but those of you that have hung on to the end here, secret sauce coming up in just one moment. But before that, Eric has got the take up again today. Always fantastic. Always tons of information. Always, we always tease Eric. Oh yeah, you went short today, an hour and a half only. Okay. But that's an hour and a half of amazing stuff. People hang around for an hour and a half. It's not just overkill. So anyhow, episode 161 today. It's stitch reducing tactics, subtle to savage. Wow. I'm excited. In this episode, he's going to talk about the many ways you can reduce stitch count and production time, from subtle changes in execution to larger, more comprehensive methods to redesign, rework, and create coverage with less time under the needle. So if you'll head over to ericcampbell.com and click the Take Up tab at the top for the links to to check out all past episodes and join the live. If you want to join the live, it is at 2:30 Mountain Time today. And just get in there. Tell him you're there. Say hello. Share your insights if you have any, and ask questions of Eric. He's really good at just making sure everybody leaves with a ton of value. So check that out today. And then Eric will also be at Impressions Expo with us, like we've talked about already, in Fort Worth, and he's going to be presenting embroidery's value proposition. So all things embroidery. Adrian said that embroidery is taking over the world. Eric was back there, raising the roof, and we try to keep him behind camera, and he still takes over. So it's awesome.
I think that was a Spice Girl song. Embroidery's taking over the world.
I think so. It could have been. Oh boy, there's the head shake. All right. Well, Terry, it's secret sauce time.
All right. My secret sauce is about screen printing production. And every screen printing class I teach, and I've been doing those classes for 20 years, someone says, wait, don't you need to flash between colors? So for my non-screen printing friends here, flashing means to print a white underbase on a color shirt, put it under the flash cure unit for about 15 seconds to gel the ink. Then you come back and you print the colors on top. So in every class, someone stops me as I start to print those colors wet on wet and says, I was taught to flash the ink between colors. So between learning to screen print from a previous owner or a friend or following self-proclaimed experts on the internet, this misinformation is rampant throughout the industry. So where does this start? Flashing between colors is a Band-Aid that it's made to when you have far too many. Let me start again. Flashing between colors is a Band-Aid that's made its way on far too many production floors. The Band-Aid is, number one, to fix a press that doesn't hold good registration. Number two, poor quality separations that do not line up properly. Number three, screen mesh not tensioned properly. Number four, using a screen with too low mesh count. So Plastisol inks are made to be printed wet on wet. If all the above Band-Aids, Band-Aid variables are addressed, you can print shirt after shirt without ink smearing and without a buildup of ink on the backs of your subsequent screens. So speed your production and get a better finished product. Print wet on wet. That's my secret sauce.
Secret sauce, Terry. I love it. Look at that. Good stuff. So round of applause for you, Terry. All right, man. Well, Terry, we've come to the close of another show. Want to thank Dan Short for sharing his business experience with us today and all the fun. What a great conversation. We've already been talking in the private chat. We got to do this again soon, and we're going to make that happen. So Terry, thanks for bringing Dan into the show.
Absolutely. Dan's a good friend, and he's an awesome decorator. We also want to thank Eric Campbell for being our show producer and keeping those wheels turning on the Two Regular Guys bus. And as always, he's the on-call co-host 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, exactly. And Terry, next week we may have to have him in front of the camera too, because we're going to have Joseph Kramer. He's going to be joining us to talk about elevating your embroidery toolbox. And so, we always need to have somebody knowledgeable on this side, because you and I'll sit there and go, oh, okay. Yeah. But we'll figure that out.
I need to get what? Okay. I don't know.
Yeah. Terry, can I borrow your junior yellow legal pad, please? All right. Cool. But I'm really looking forward to that.
Thread and Pellon. That's beyond that.
Head shaking continues. All right. So next week, though, you guys tune in for sure. Elevating your embroidery toolbox. I know Dan's going to be listening in, so we're check that out. And I'm looking forward to that, Terry.
Absolutely. Me too. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.